Baltimore Ravens might be getting some bad news coming from Jacksonville regarding Todd Monken and his status with their head coaching vacancy. A lot of switch up, a lot has changed in Jacksonville over the past 24 hours. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about how that might affect the Baltimore Ravens, namely their offensive coordinator position with Todd Monken. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you're subscribed to the show. Super easy to do. It's also 100% free. And this month, all month long, we've been battling our Steelers Talk channel for who can gain the most subs in January. Right now, they've taken a pretty big lead, but it's not unreachable, okay? We still got about a week left in this month. We're only, 35 subs away, 36 subs from passing them. So if you haven't subbed to the channel and you hate the Pittsburgh Steelers and you want to help me out, go ahead, hit that sub button. So let's throw it back to a couple weeks ago, okay? Head coach interview from Todd Monken to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that was the week before the Bills game. So honestly, about a week ago, okay? But then since then, it seemed like Jacksonville was getting very, very keen to Liam Coen, the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? They had their sights set on him. It was announced that he was a front runner for that position. But then Adam Schefter yesterday hit us with this absolute bombshell of a tweet. He said, Buccaneers offensive coordinator Liam Coen is taking himself out of the running for the Jaguars head coaching job to stay in Tampa on a new contract that will now place him amongst the highest paid coordinators in the NFL per sources. Absolute shakeup in Jacksonville. They thought that he was the guy. They thought he was going to be the guy who was easily the front runner. And so then, after that news, they decided to part ways with their general manager. They released this statement. Shad Khan, their owner, following several discussions with Trent Baalke this week, we both arrived at the conclusion that it is in our best and mutual interest to respectively separate effective immediately. Okay, so they thought they were going to get a guy, and then because they didn't fire their GM, that guy didn't want to coach somewhere that was unstable, so then they fire that general manager, and now the head coaching search is now, once again, wide open. And who might be considered? Oh, just the guy who they interviewed just a week ago, okay? I want to ask you before I get into anything else, what is the % chance that Todd Monken is the head coach in Jacksonville? Scale it for me in the comment section down below. 1 to 100. You might get hit with a YouTube ad break coming up in just a little bit when that ad break comes. Don't worry about it. Don't panic. Just go to the bottom, go down to the comment section, find this pinned comment, and scale it for me 1 to 100. So let's catch you up on the timeline of this whole thing, okay? Because January 16th, Todd Monken interviews with Jacksonville. Then on January 21st, literally 2 days ago, Liam Coen is emerging as the front runner. Then yesterday, Liam Coen pulls himself out, withdraws himself from consideration because he's going to be the newest, highest paid offensive coordinator in the game. And then later that afternoon, the Jacksonville Jaguars fire their general manager. Okay, and John Harbaugh, Eric DaCosta, they spoke to the media on Monday afternoon, and they stated out front, in front of everybody, this offensive coordinator that's currently in this system, that we currently have in this franchise, Todd Monken, he's the guy that we want to roll with rolling forward. They said that they wanted Todd Monken. They said that they loved Todd Monken, what Todd Monken has done, and it's easy to see why they loved him when you see what he's done, okay? And so I can tell that they've seen that he's interviewed for 2 places. The Bears already been filled, but he interviewed for Jacksonville and the Bears. He was requested by the Raiders. He's a guy that's coming up in head coaching searches. So there's a guy for Baltimore that they're wanting to keep in the building, and I don't get why you would not. But also, I do kind of see why Jacksonville might be a little bit intriguing if you are an offensive coordinator, okay? Because maybe that whole organization is a dumpster fire. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But they've got some intriguing options in their offense, okay? Trevor Lawrence, Tank Bigsby, Travis Etienne, Brian Thomas Jr., Evan Engram, Christian Kirk. They've got a lot of really good pieces in that offense and really good pieces that a guy like Todd Monken might look at that and say, you know what? there's worse offenses I could take over as a brand new head coach. We're going to talk a lot about that in the next couple of minutes. But before we get into the rest of today's video, I got to give a massive shout out to the awesome sponsor of today's show, and that is Game Time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's playoff time, and I can promise you there is nothing that can quite compare to the rush and excitement you feel watching your team win a playoff game, either at home or on the road. And if you want to have that memory for the rest of your life, that's where Game Time can help out. The connection you feel to your team, city, and fellow fans around you in those electric playoff environments leads to bonds that last a lifetime. Game Time has an awesome new feature. It's called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so that way you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The tool highlights the best deals, including great and amazing deals with the best value seats at the time. For some events, Game Time Picks also identifies a super deal, which is the best seat value in the venue. And guys, I want to talk a little bit even more about that Game Time Picks button. I can't tell you how often I spend time on other ticketing websites and other ticketing apps, and I'm just searching for hours and hours to try to find which seats had the best deal, which place has the best deal. But Game Time does that for you in seconds with their Game Time Picks button. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, redeem code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. The link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. So let's get into it, shall we? Coming up on today's show, we're going to just talk about why I believe that Todd Monken might actually not be a bad fit with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's start with the quarterback play, okay? This is why the Jaguars might be interested in Todd Monken. So if you look from just 1 year to the next, from Monken's first season with Lamar compared to Lamar's season prior to Monken being there, the improvement is just obvious, right? He jumped from 62.3 to 67.2% completion percentage. He upped his passing yard per game 43 yards a game. He averaged yards per attempt. He upped that by 1.1. He had 11 points higher on his passer rating, 3 points higher on his QBR. And then you take a look at the numbers this year, and they're even more staggering, okay? Completion percentage of 66.7. Yards, 4,172, high in his career. Yards per attempt, 8.8, another high in his career. 41 touchdowns, another high in his career. And that entire time, only 4 picks, okay? So, if you are Shad Khan, if you are the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you can see what Todd Monken has done with a guy who wasn't necessarily thought of as the best passer in Lamar Jackson, and what he's turned him into, a 41 passing touchdown, 4 interception, 4,000-yard passer in just 2 years. You got to think to yourself, man, imagine what he might be able to do with a guy like Trevor Lawrence. Okay, what can he do with a guy who we believe is our franchise quarterback? You paid him like he was your franchise quarterback. You got to believe, you got to think, you got to hope he's your franchise quarterback. What can Todd Monken do in a year, maybe 2, with a guy like Trevor Lawrence? Okay, that has to be intriguing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Do you love Todd Monken? Yes or no question. If that answer is yes, I need you to do one thing for me. I need you to hit that thumbs up button, like the video, to show me down below that you love Todd Monken and that you want him to stay. And it's not just the quarterback play, okay? It's the entire offense. Their total expected points added per play was plus 0.17. Their expected points added per pass was plus 0.28, first in the league. Expected points added per rush was 0.08, fourth best in the league. They had the most yards per game, and they had the second most touchdowns scored in the entire National Football League. And then also, if you're Todd Monken and you're looking at it and you're saying, why would I go there, right? We talked about the offensive people that they have, but another intriguing thing is what they're looking at in the draft. They, as of right now, have the 4th overall pick in the NFL draft, okay? So if you are an offensive guy and you see the offensive talent that they have, and then you see also they're picking 5th in the draft, those are all things that might point you in the direction to going somewhere, to being somewhere's new head coach. But also, I've got some reasons why I think it won't be Monken, okay? Starting first, that organization, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they are run horribly, okay? And this search is just an exact replica, an exact picture of how poorly that place is ran, okay? They fired the head coach, but they keep the general manager that nobody likes. Then they interview a bunch of candidates. The candidate that they wanted, the candidate that they loved, the candidate that they most were searching for and looking at, he says to them, you know what? I don't think I can be there, right? He shows no interest. He said, I'd rather stay and be an offensive coordinator. So then they realize it's probably the GM's fault. So then they fire the GM. And now they are 3 weeks removed from the end of their season, and they're pretty much back at square one, okay? And all of that, on the flip side, is Baltimore low-key, guys. It is the picture of stability for how an organization should be run. Do we wish they did more things in free agency? Yes. But how this organization is run, the way they treat their coaches, the way they treat the players, the way they do in the draft, the way they do everything is almost perfect, okay? Another thing for Jacksonville, why he won't want to be there, is they're not hiring their general manager until they get their head coach. So why, if you were a head coach, would you want to go anywhere if you didn't already know who the general manager was going to be? It's a shit show in Jacksonville. And then also back to Baltimore, he right now has Lamar Jackson and he has Derrick Henry. Why on earth would he want to leave those two guys? Why on earth would he want to go be the head coach for anywhere else when he has the best quarterback in the league and probably the best running back in the league as well? Okay, it seems like a no-brainer for Todd Monken to stay in Baltimore. Here are the odds as of right now. Robert Saleh is the leader at plus 350. Closely behind him is Joe Brady. Then you got Kellen Moore, Patrick Graham, defense coordinator with Las Vegas. And then you got Todd Monken right there at plus 1,000. So the way the odds look at it right now, he's got top 5 odds, but there's a lot of guys ahead of him that have better ones. So I want you to let me know who will be the Jaguars' next head coach. Who will be the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars? Let me know by filling in that blank in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for watching today. Really do appreciate it, guys. Make sure you hit that sub button. Help us beat the Steelers right here, as we have been the entire January. They're only back 36 subs. We got a lot of room to catch up. Need you to help us out.